Whenever you are ready, I am ready for you.
Do you understand how your brain receives and interprets reality and creates the world around you? Psychedelics, hallucinogens, entheogens are substances that are incredibly misunderstood. On the 2020 Oregon ballot, all Oregonians are going to be asked to vote on Measure 34, which is the Oregon Psilocybin Program Initiative. Which was pioneered by Portland area therapists. I have been a member of both the Portland and the Salem Psychedelic Society since 2016. Today, I'd like to inform you guys about what the term entheogens means, how these drugs are classified, and also how they're still being used around the world today. So, first off, let's clarify what this term entheogens means. I'm going to assume that, like me, most of you are unfamiliar with this term. At least I was at the beginning. I had no idea what it meant. In an article entitled A Definition of Entheogens from February 2016 on the Entheogen Research, Integration, and Education website, the author, Dr. Adrian Oler, has this to say. To understand research in the field of psychedelic medicine, it is necessary to define the terms being used. The word entheogens comes from the Greek word entheos, which means the God within. Pretty cool, huh? The God within? We're all made of stardust after all. And that statement can take different interpretations depending on your perspective. And I will be speaking a little bit about the usage of entheogens later on in my speech, but I just want to mention here that traditionally, entheogens have been used by shamans, oracles, tribal elders, and anybody seeking spiritual enlightenment to help them experience visions that destroy their ego and that help them interpret the world around them. Oh man, that's the wrong visual aid. Okay, this one, sorry. In New Science, this picture, New Science, actually, is a picture that illustrates how scientists are constantly understanding how our brain receives information and also helps us create our reality, and how each of our experiences are unique to us and are unique to the way that we interpret it. Also, what's interesting to understand is that consciousness is also another phenomenon that describes this process that our brain uses to understand and interpret the world. And I will be speaking a little bit more about consciousness during my persuasive speech in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Entheogens are mind-altering drugs. So what is their purpose and how are they classified? To help you understand that, first we have to talk a little bit about who is in charge of classifying drugs here in the United States. The Drug Enforcement Agency, or the DEA, was founded in 1973. Their purpose was to help reduce illicit drug usage, to help reduce the crime associated with drug usage, and also to help reduce drug trafficking. The DEA schedules drugs into 5 categories. This is based on whether they consider the drug to be abuse, most likely to be abused, most likely to people to become codependent with it, either psychologically or physically. Schedule 5 drugs are considered the drugs with the least amount of risk. Schedule 1 drugs are considered the most likely to be abused. In Schedule 5 drugs, you find things like Robitussin, cough syrup with codeine. In Schedule 4 drugs, you find things like Xanax. In Schedule 3 drugs, you find Tylenol with codeine. In Schedule 2 drugs, you find methamphetamines and cocaine. In Schedule 1 drugs, you find marijuana, LSD, magic mushrooms, DMT, ayahuasca, any of the entheogens. So on 2019, the United States Drug Enforcement website on their webpage entitled Drug Scheduling says this about Schedule 1 drugs. Schedule 1 drugs, substances or chemicals, are defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use and high potential for abuse. So even though the DEA considers entheogens to be of no medical usage, entheogens are still very much used all over the world. A quick Google search will show you that not only are they still used in many countries, they're used here in the United States as well. Caitlin Foodie, a reporter for the Chicago Tribune in May of 2019, in an article entitled "Voters Make Denver the First U.S. City to Decriminalize Magic Mushrooms," is quoted to say this about magic mushrooms. Small studies in recent years have found that the substance has positive effects on anxiety and depression for cancer patients. Users have described seeing vivid colors and geometric patterns and experiencing powerful spiritual connections and emotions. Ayahuasca trips to Peru, Mexico, and even here in the United States are becoming increasingly popular for those that are looking for natural ways to deal with their mental health issues. Countries such as the UK and Canada have been doing research that is demonstrating that perhaps the DEA has misclassified these drugs, that in fact they are proving that they are effective to treat mental health issues and even help people that are experiencing addictions such as alcoholism. There is also actually a native church here in the United States that still uses entheogens as part of their members' spiritual quest and journey. There's many tribes all over the world, and even Native American tribes here, that still consider entheogens to be a very important part of their rituals. The Portland Psychedelic Society is one of many different organizations here in the state that are educational, nonprofit, non-political organizations that are there to educate anyone that wants to know more about entheogens and understand the research that is being done on them right now. In 2020, we Oregonian registered voters are being asked whether we believe that entheogens can be used by the medical community. It is important for us to be informed on this topic, as it is an important measure that we're going to be voting on next year. I wish that I could talk to you guys about so many other things on this topic. However, I assume that I'm running out of time. So, can entheogens help us find the God within? Will the DEA reclassify these drugs? I look forward to talking to you more during my persuasive speech about what my views are on how entheogens can help treat mental health issues. Thank you for your time.